Hey, Matt. We have Matt Wilson, who's president and CEO of Sterling Metals. It's one of the newer companies in the area, listed on the venture with the ticker SAG. So let Matt take us through the presentation.
Thanks, Tina. So my name is Matthew Wilson. I'm CEO of Sterling Metals. So I just want to thank everyone at Adelaide for having me here. I think that it's really great to highlight all the success stories that are happening over the East Coast. And as everyone seems to say, it's pretty great to have so many successes happening at once, as it just creates more interest in the region and economies of scale. And it's just a great thing. So Sterling is a new company. It was an exploration company focusing on Latin America, but last year we recapped and rebranded, and we spent the better part of last year looking for a project in Canada and trying to focus on things that were focusing on silver and base metals. And what we found is in Newfoundland, and we really think we have the start here of potentially Canada's next high-grade silver district. So excited to tell you guys about it. Just quick forward-looking statement. Right, so my background, just to kind of give a start, I've spent 12 years investing in the junior mining space. My first 6 years were spent at one of the larger venture investment firms in the world, really, that focus on junior mining at Pine Tree Capital. And then since then, I've worked as executive and investor for different things. So kind of bring a combination of investor and operations. My last project that I ran was we focused on 15,000 meter drill program in South America and a mine restart. So when we were looking for a new asset, I think during the COVID crisis here, it was even more important to kind of check all the boxes. And really, there's 6 boxes that I think that are important in evaluating an asset, and I think that what we have is right in there. So what we're doing is we're working with a district scale system. We have a 12-kilometer silver, copper, lead, zinc soil footprint that we're going to go through. It just shows a massive footprint in Newfoundland. We have world-class grades in outcrop from trenching and grab samples. Its grades are up to 6,700 gram per ton silver, and this equivalent number is made up of 4,500 grams silver, 15% copper, 15% lead, zinc, and 5% antimony. As most people have talked about, Newfoundland is an amazing place to be. We are in an area in the northwest where we have strong infrastructure. As you can kind of see, there's a highway that drives right through past one of our trenching areas. There's power, access to water, roads. We're 30 kilometers from a regional airport. And obviously, being in Newfoundland right now, it's a very pro-mining jurisdiction. The other 2 boxes I think are really important to check are a strong team, and we bring both an investor experience, we have entrepreneur experience, and then obviously probably most important is the geological team in terms of being able to actually uncover what we think we have here. And I guess if you've been in the investment industry and if you've been around this for the last 5 years, you know that timing is pretty important as well. I think that this project really sets itself apart as a unique silver and base metal play in an environment where both of these things are really sought after. So I just want to, so diving a little bit more into the jurisdiction itself. People have talked about Newfoundland a lot. We don't really need to go into that too much, but he's here. We're kind of up in the northwest on our own. There's not a lot of exploration that's happened up here. The closest thing that's really happened is the Daniel Harbour zinc mine, which Kansas Resources is kind of close to. That was operated by Teck, did about 7 million tons at 8% zinc. Our project is a new discovery. It was staked at the end of 2016 by a local school principal. And he took a couple boulders over to the guys at Altius Resources. Altius sampled them, found 300 grams silver and 2.5% copper, and kind of gobbled up as much as they could in the area. We acquired this project after about $1.5 million of work in October of last year. So this is a new project. It's never been drilled, but it's key that it's 30 kilometers from the nearest town, where most of the guys that most of the people did our work program in the fall stayed. There's a road that goes right through it, power, water, and it's a great place to be. It's a logging and fishing area, and most of the area can be accessible through logging roads. So the infrastructure is really great there. So the work program we did over the fall, this is very early. It's never had a drill hole. but it's pretty unique in the size of the footprint. The soil geochem we did in the fall, as well as a 4,500 soil program that was done by Altius in 2017, shows this very distinct footprint of silver, copper, lead, zinc mineralization. Here we have the silver and copper footprint. We have silver grades in soils up to 657 grams per ton and 0.68% copper. And if you kind of look at these clusters, there's 4 zones here, and it combines into 9 kilometers of mineralized footprint. And each of these zones is well over a kilometer long. So the footprint here is really distinct, and there's a nice straight line that goes with it, and it kind of runs along a fault that's just over to the northwest. The project also has had 17 trenches and a bunch of grab samples. What's great about this project is a lot of the veining outcrops at surface and kind of runs right up the project. So the best sample we've gotten, which obviously is not indicative of future drilling, but we took grab samples in the fall from a trench that was done by Altius in 2017, and it came up with almost 6,800 gram per ton silver equivalent, and really pointing out the makeup of that was 4,500 grams silver, 15% copper, and 17% lead zinc, as well as 5% antimony content. This is really important when you start to characterize the system. These samples from trenches and outcrops run along that entirety of the footprint. So it just demonstrates the robust nature of the veins that we're chasing alongside this just huge footprint of the soils. So also running during the work program that Altius did and over the last couple of years, there was also an IP survey, there was MAG done, and then there was also a limited gravity survey. And there's not a lot of coverage of the gravity, but what we're finding is that the gravity is showing these large anomalies where we could find some nice dense rock underneath the heavy lead, for example, the lead grabs in soil samples. So again, running right in trend, and one of the things that we're doing right now is expanding, and we're going to expand on this survey so that we can get even more coverage, and we just see these anomalies, these large things. So just for context, these are kind of kilometer long, parts of the system. So we're dealing with things that are very large here. The Newfoundland Geological Survey just did a presentation on the Sail Pond project, and one of the people that was working on it wrote our technical report. One of the great things about the mineralization, as you see here kind of from outcrop, is you're chasing these antimony-rich silver, lead, zinc veins. When they did an isotope analysis and a comparison of this kind of a project around North America, and found that it was really these quartz carbonate veins that carried these high grades of silver were really unlike anything that you can find in the East Coast, and are a lot more similar to what you would find in the Keno Hill District in the Yukon, or Silver Valley, the core district in Idaho. These kind of narrow quartz veins that carry just these huge grades of silver, lead, zinc, and antimony, and a little bit of arsenic. So having a presentation like this showing the analogy to these world-class silver districts along this kind of strike makes for drilling kind of these targets to be a really intriguing kind of thing. So just to kind of expand on that, what the model that we're sort of chasing here is similar to what you'd find in Keno Hill. So the size of the trend here, this 12-kilometer trend, is actually the same size as the western part of the Keno Hill District. That western district produced over 200 million ounces of silver in the 1900s. And what they ended up having is very dense, small ore bodies. So 300,000, 400,000, 500,000 tons at 30 to 50 ounce silver. The largest one is Hector Calumet, which was 100 million ounces of silver from only 2.7 million tons of rock. So what we're looking for here is these very dense, high-grade ore bodies along this trend. And I think that in Canada, the value of having something like this, where the cost inflation is very limited, given the fact that you have high-grade, limited tonnage to process, and obviously with the infrastructure that we have, where we can drive right to the project, I think that this really is distinct from maybe its peer group on the early stage, because for for the most part, what I've seen is, projects like this, you don't have a lot in Canada, North America. Find things like this in Peru and Mexico. And I think that we're hoping that this is the start of something that really can put Canada back on the map for silver production. I think that thinking of how to put this slide into context, all the positive words around silver these days, whether you're talking about the silver short squeeze or you're talking about the industrial uses, silver is a really interesting place to be. I think that it gives you the exposure to the precious metal move where, it ties itself to gold. But silver also has extreme industrial uses and is really a big part of the green wave of technology development that we're seeing. It's a big part of solar panels, as the best conductor in the world. And also is a big component, it's not a huge component, but it's also a component in electric vehicles. So as you see kind of the push into green technologies, silver is going to have a very large industrial use to tie it. And then when you add in its relevance to the gold trade and the gap right now that you're seeing between physical silver and paper silver, I think that's a really interesting place to be, let alone the fact that we also have these copper and base metal component, which is a very key part of the inflation trade. So really excited about this place that we're in right now, and I think this makes this a unique story. So to touch on the capital structure, we raised $3.75 million at the end of December of last year. So we have about $3.5 million in the bank right now. We're funded to drill 7,500 to 10,000 meters, which we plan on doing this spring. This will be the first time ever that this project is drilled. Basically, the plan is to kind of test these anomalies and push forward on the veins, and we're excited to do that. We have a pretty tight share structure. It's 41 million out. There's probably 50% insider institutional ownership. Our partners, we acquired this project from Altius Resources, and they own 16% of the project and have been really great in kind of introducing us to the island and making sure that we understand everything from permitting to helping us run our work program. It's been a really smooth transition as we just acquired this in October. But I think that kind of transitions into the team itself. So we're kind of a combination of geologists and finance guys, and investors. So our chairman of the board is Richard Patricio. He's CEO of Mega Uranium and has been doing this for 20 years, investing in things. We've worked together for about 12. He's also on the board of Next Gen Uranium, which is probably one of the best undeveloped assets in the world. Stephen Keith is our resident geologist on the board and has had good success over a good period of time. Dennis, I saw, was on the board of Magna-Terra. Dennis is a banker from Westwind who has great public experience working as a CFO. And then we talked about myself as well. And then getting into the technical part of our team, we have Kelly Malcolm, who's really a big part in the lead of our push forward on the exploration side. He's currently the vice president of exploration at Amex Exploration. Amex is one of the better new discoveries in the last couple of years, focused in Quebec. And then Denis Laviolette. Denis and I worked together for a couple of years. He's chairman of Goldspot, and Goldspot's doing a lot of work for us in terms of looking at the data from the last 4 years. He's also president of Newfound Gold. So again, brings us a lot of good understanding of the island, and has been great and instrumental in kind of pushing forward and showing us how to work up there. And Mark Raguse, again, worked with me back in the past. We worked together and was instrumental in finding us this asset, and it's a good segue in Altius. So I think that we really think that we have a good team project that's really exciting. It's very early, but I think that the value proposition of having a silver and base metal asset in North America with easy access and these high grades over this large footprint is something that we're really excited about. And our drill program this spring should really tell a big tale.
Awesome. Thanks, Matt. We did get a question come in from the audience how strict the environmental permits are given the fishing and tourism around you.
Yeah, so far it's been really great. Again, we really lever our partnership with Altius. They've been on the island for a really long time. They've been great and are large shareholders. So the town that's 30 kilometers away has been extremely supportive in terms of lending their workforce. I think that this is this is an area that's a little bit starved for work, as it's a shipping and fishing and logging kind of area, and our land actually fits really nicely between kind of the national park a couple hours to the south and some environmental areas to the north. So it's a pretty good spot to be in terms of environmental permitting, and everything we've done so far has not really provided any issue.
And in terms of the work that you've done, have the grab samples given you any indication of what that ratio between silver and base metals will look like? Do you have a good sense of that already, or is it too early to tell?
I think it's a little early to tell. One thing that Kelly and I often will comment on is that there are a lot of theories about what this project could be. It's so big and so early with no drill holes, that it could be multiple systems. There could be multiple types of deposits that are going on, and in most world-class discoveries, you see multiple types of deposits in one. So these hybrids kind of models. So there could be a copper gold piece in there. There could be just silver lead zinc veining. There could be just copper parts. So I think it's a little early to tell, just because it's kind of depends on where you're at in the project.
Okay. And in terms of the drill program going forward, how deep do you plan on drilling, and do you have a good sense of what that'll look like?
Yeah, we actually just started designing that right now. We have a pretty good sense now of probably the first 3/4 of the program. I think we're leaving a little bit of it unknown for when we can start chasing kind of holes as we go deeper. We're probably, like I said, it's 7,500 meters to 10,000 meters. If you're looking at, you're probably averaging 200 meters a hole kind of thing. That's sort of what we're throwing in as a ballpark. But I suppose it's a good sign if we start drilling deeper, because we're chasing things that we keep finding.
Yeah, for sure. Well, it's an exciting project and a lot of familiar faces on the team as well. So that's kind of fun to see.
I always think it's a good thing when a team, you have a team that's been together, but also brings new people in. It's usually a good sign of people that like to work together. So we're all really pumped, invested in this, and it's going to be fun.
That's great. Well, thanks for the presentation. Appreciate it.
Thanks a lot, Tina.